Townsend, and I'm the founder and president of Divorce Right. And we provide training for HR professionals and company supervisors. And we provide divorce coaching and case management, providing the guidance and direction that your employees that are going through a divorce so desperately need. Divorce is a huge disruptor, not only to employees going through it, but to the company they work for. And our coaches have a very unique perspective on divorce that sets us apart from any option that's out there. They have a deep understanding of the legal, financial, and emotional aspects of divorce, and they can handle even the highest conflict of cases with compassion and professionalism. And our coaches are trained to look at the entire picture, helping your employees make good decisions based on their goals and their expectations. So if you're an HR benefits manager, an HR benefits provider, or consultant, please reach out to us and see if adding our suite of solutions is a good fit for your business. And today, we're going to be talking about a solution for your employees with special needs children with my friend and colleague, Dr. Susan Bernstein. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Susan. Dr. Bernstein is the owner of Divorce Coach Plus, is a certified divorce coach assisting clients through all stages of divorce. Susan is a full-time single mom of 3 and a best-selling author. She earned additional divorce certifications in high conflict divorce, divorce with special needs children, and now teaches as an instructor for other coaches in these programs. She's a certified pre-mediation divorce coach as well as a post-divorce transition and recovery coach. She is a leader for Vesta Divorce, the National Association of Divorce Professionals, my old company, and the Divorce Coalition at local and national levels. She utilizes her doctorate in education to assist with parenting plans and custody battles. Susan is the go-to coach for attorneys to use for their divorces and takes on the most difficult cases in the country that no one else wants to handle. So, Susan, thank you so much for being with us today to talk about this really, really important topic of special needs children and divorce, because I know that's very special, a part of who you are.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you're here. So, one of the things we were talking about was that a lot of people just don't know the definition of what a special needs child is. I think we all have an image of what that looks like. Why don't you tell us what that is?
It's a very good question, and it's a very big, large umbrella or range. So special needs can be referred to any physical needs, any intellectual needs, any emotional or behavioral needs. So it encompasses all of that. And really having a disability, which some people like to use the term disability, some people like to use the term special needs, is often identified when they are school age or younger. But it can be come out at any time because really in reality, it's a combination of genetics and environmental factors. So there are some parents who have a child who's born with, quote, special needs, who then gets services they need, and you would never know by the time they get to high school. Then there's the opposite. Some parents who have children who are born with perfect APGAR scores and they're doing well early on, and they hit school age or they hit those teen years where all the hormones and genetics come into play. And all of a sudden they're like, wait a second, I didn't realize what's going on. So it really is an overarching thing, but pretty much when your child is not within the norm, they can be classified as special needs educationally or in other terms medically.
Yeah. So when we are talking about special needs children, in the case of divorce, we're not talking about necessarily something that you can always see.
Right.
Right. Yes. It could be mental illness, could be physical issues that are not visible to the outside. And so we need to kind of take care of this. And also, I don't think that employees are going to be super upfront and, coming forward with some of their personal needs with their family. So we have to be aware, kind of, listening with a third ear, if you will, to families that have some challenges.
Absolutely. I think, you said a lot there. So, special needs are not always visible. Sometimes children hold it together in school, but not at home. And so it's twice as hard at home. Parents are trying to tell the school district they need their children classified or evaluated, and the school district says they're fine. So that can be an issue. Sometimes, like you said, people go into their attorneys or mediators and they might just ask about the children's age and not get into, are there any additional things or needs we need to know? So letting professionals who you're working with know. And then from an HR perspective, really a coach could help that person say, not only is it hard to tell your employer that you're going through a divorce, but it's also hard to tell them that you have some additional complications at home. So, how to help them verbalize that or put it in writing so they can keep lines of communication open.
Absolutely, 100%. Are there any statistics around, and I know that you know this like the back of your hand, statistics with families with special needs children and divorce?
Yes. So we have certainly heard about half the country getting divorced, and that seems to stay true pretty much year after year, going around the 50% mark. But the latest statistics are that children who have special needs, those families have an 80%, not just 50%, but 80% chance of divorce before those children hit the age of 21. So it's a much higher risk. People, obviously you get married, you don't have a crystal ball, you don't know what's going to happen with marriage and divorce, but people get married, they have children, they don't have a crystal ball. They just assume
Right.
everything will be fine. And often there are special needs children who will need lifelong care, financial care, physical care, and that is an extra toll on the marriage as far as how are we going to plan for this? And that can bring about conflict, which brings about divorce. And so, really having a specialist who is not only trained in divorce, but the intersection of divorce and special needs. And what are we going to do even when these children are emancipated, depending on the state at 18 or 21? But they're not independent. So, helping those people deal with that, which can be all consuming. And certainly the consuming part and overwhelm can affect their work.
And what I love about you and what you have created is a team of professionals around the country that work with those financial matters, right? That there's the chartered special needs child financial advisor.
Yes.
Not just any financial advisor can work on these cases
Mhm.
or have the skill set to work with these cases. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so they require a different kind of will and estate planning attorney, right? They require a different financial advisor and they require a different support system through their divorce. And you had mentioned a little bit about it. Is there some statistics, or is there's something around high conflict cases with these families?
Yes. So a high conflict divorce can be defined hidden money, domestic violence, custody battles. It only takes one of the divorcing parties to be labeled the whole divorce high conflict. But remember how we talked about special needs, and it can be psychological, emotional, behavioral. A lot of times that's genetic. And so you're dealing with children who have those genetic issues, and then the adult who gave it to them who is unstable, toxic, personality disorders, mental health disorders, addictions is considered mental health. So it's obvious, it's often rampant in special needs families that there is a high conflict divorce because one or both parents have this. The other thing that occurs sometimes is through adoptions, they don't know the genetics. And so there's a high percentage of people who adopt children and then find out they have special needs. And then they are going through that divorce process, still not even knowing what's going on and really being blindsided. So just having someone who, like you said, is trained. We have the NADP special needs chapter, we have certified divorce special needs coaches. So there are resources out there, but it's really something that's only started in the last handful of years.
It is. It's something that you brought to my attention so many years ago. Gosh, Susan, that's been a long time. That I became aware of the special care that these
Mhm.
families need. One of the things that I remember that you told me so many years ago was how a poorly crafted settlement statement by somebody that does not understand how government benefits work, how the school says, how EAP plans work, all of that stuff, that they'll lose their benefits. Can you talk about that just a little bit? Because
Yes.
that just,
Mhm.
talk
I
about adding insult to injury, right? You're going through a divorce and your kid all of a sudden loses their government benefits. So chat about
Yes.
that for a minute.
It's a good question and something that is important to know when people don't think about it until it's too late on several levels. So, first of all, if someone is disabled, they are entitled, even a child, to Medicaid, to SSI disability. Now, what happens is if their parents have X number of dollars, that child has to wait till they're 18 to get it. So, some people are not entitled until they're 18. Some, if their financial situation qualifies, can be younger. But then when you give child support, which is normally until 18 or 21, although as a side note, states like New York and Texas give it longer if they have special needs.
26, yeah.
When you give child support, it can affect and negatively decrease their Medicaid and SSI monies. So really being aware of what are they entitled to, how do we adjust accordingly. You mentioned the chartered special financial planners. That's important. Also, trust and estate attorneys who can do for special needs children a first and a third party trust so that their money can be safeguarded, right? When you want to make sure that these children over 18 don't have assets, they're not going to get funding, but there's a way to have a care plan so that they will be taken care of without taking away the family's assets. So it really is tricky, and being aware of that upfront and not having it happen and then waiting 3 years till you can attempt again. So I can walk people through that step by step.
Absolutely. And that's why I hope that anybody that's listening to this will understand that, divorce on its best day is
Yes.
complicated and difficult to navigate and cumbersome and toxic and stressful, trauma, all of the above.
Mhm.
And then throw in that your child has just lost thousands and thousands of dollars worth of benefits just because someone wasn't as trained as someone like you, Susan. That's why I want to you know bring this subject up often, because I know that this is an issue for families. I
Yeah.
know that it's an issue for employees, and if we can just get the word out through as many avenues as we can,
Mhm.
then maybe it'll land on some ears that say, hey, wait, we need to have some specialists on your case, on your behalf. So,
Absolutely. And sometimes people think, well, if I have an attorney, it's going to cost extra money to get a coach. But in reality, that coach can save you thousands with putting the details in the contract related to parenting plans, related to decision making, which is so much more complicated for a child with additional needs, and related to finance, like we just talked about, and long term. So having that coach will actually save you money, help you not have money taken away or lost for that opportunity you could.
right.
So it's definitely worth your while. And coaches like myself always give that complimentary call. So they have nothing to lose. It's confidential, it's non judgmental. And we really can, our goal is to help educate and empower people going through it so that they and their children not only survive, but thrive.
And so let's talk about, having a coach like you. Why
Mhm.
is somebody like you a good support system for an employee so
Yes.
that they can show up at work? Let's talk about that, because I think, first of all, I think that you are fabulous, and I've known you for so many years now, and I've watched you kind of change and really impact a very niched market, but an important niche market. So let's talk about your impact on that employee at work.
Absolutely. It's a good question. In general, what coaches do is we help people gain clarity, we help people prioritize, and we help people communicate and strategize. Or at least I know a good certified divorce coach is what they're supposed to do. And so often someone has trouble keeping what is going on at home, the crisis, the problems, the worry, the question marks out of their mind while they're working, and it affects their work. And there's people who are going through divorce in very important positions and they cannot risk their work being affected by it. Even if it's not such an important position, they don't want to be fired for not having the work to their fullest capacity. And so a coach helps them deal with the overwhelm, helps them come up with a plan. My promise to my clients, and one of the things I say that a coach is different than a therapist, is when they leave a session with me, they leave with an action plan. So it can be baby steps or giant leaps and bounds, but they'll sleep better at night. We know if you're sleeping better, you are able to think better. And that's what you're doing on your job. You're thinking. So if they're worried, they're not sleeping, they're not helping someone gain clarity and having someone help them come up with a plan, they are going to be overwhelmed. So a coach can help them come up with a plan, and that includes saving money with their attorney or mediator because they're doing the thinking work with the coach at a fraction of the price and going into the attorney or the mediator very prepared and able to deal with whatever's on the plate because they've already thought through what's my ideal situation, what's the bottom line, and what's realistic, right? So we help them with mindset, we help them with stress, we help them with focusing forward, and then communicating with their ex. If they have children, they're going to have to parent together for many years. And as you know, we were just talking about grandchildren, and even after their children are older, there's grandchildren's first birthday parties and events. So trying to, set them up for the long-term success.
Exactly. And having, you don't think about the impact on an employee's productivity,
Yes.
but particularly when they can't talk to their ex.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself it makes the distractions and the errors and the, just the anger, they carry that to their team. They also carry their worry. And I know that there's a lot of worry that comes around with these families around what's going to happen with my child through this, through this whole ordeal. So
Absolutely. And when you have someone trained in parenting plans, whether it's a special needs child or not, really they sleep better at night. Okay, we have someone to help with the finances, we have a plan. We have someone to help with the parenting plan, we have a plan. All of a sudden, they can take a deep breath and they can focus at work. It's just that team approach of a therapist, a certified divorce coach, an attorney or mediator, and if need be, the financial specialist. It sounds like a lot of resources, but technically they are going to come out on top because they did it right the first time. They're not going to have to go back to court, and they're going to know, here's my plan and here's my budget and here's what I need to do either to reduce my expenses or get a second job or get a raise or things like that. So really helping them with all aspects, taking away those question marks and filling in the blanks.
So, as we kind of wrap this up, and our listeners are HR professionals, benefits managers, what do you think that an employer can do to support these employees when they find out, whether it's directly through the employee or through the grapevine? How do you feel? What would be the best thing that top 3 tips for employers with employees with special needs children?
Certainly. Great question. I probably have more than 3 tips. This is what I help people with all the time. I just had a client today, and half my clients are men and half are women, and half are probably the moneymaker and the non. But he was able to talk to his work. He's a very high, powerful position and say, hey, I want 50% custody. I need to adjust my travel schedule. I need to adjust my time in the office versus virtual work. And he was able to do that. So, having the HR department create an environment where they're willing and able to work with those people going through a divorce. So letting it be open and not a bad thing. The other thing is asking those open-ended questions including some answers. Hey, would you like an advance? Hey, would you like us to, let you have some extra breaks throughout the day, or come late because you have to get your child on the bus? Or if you have a special needs child and they have a doctor appointment, do you want to work from home that day? So asking these ended open questions on what can we do? How can we be of support? And really we get it. We know you're a valuable person. We want you here. And we know by supporting you, you're going to work harder because you appreciate that we appreciate you.
And that in itself creates a more loyal employee.
Yes.
When you have the resources at your hand to say, call Divorce Right, they have an expert that works with these families. And, our solutions for anybody that's out there, our return on your investment with us is so high.
Yeah.
That having us, we kind of take all of this off of your plate and help your employee get through and navigate this landmine field of potential disasters, and particularly when there's a special needs child involved. And so, I'm so grateful that you have kind of taken the bull by the horns in this industry around the special needs child and made an impact. So, what do you see as, the future in divorce with special needs children? I mean, if you could even, or let's just say you could wave a magic wand, what do you think could happen here?
I mean, I think first off, the stigma of divorce will change. And I think second off, once that general stigma of divorce changes, there's more understanding of the historic caregiver versus, money maker will also change. And in a divorce, then the parents need to take on both those roles. So the employees knowing, hey, I now need to not just be the money maker, but also a caregiver, and the work being able to understand that and work around it. If someone has to put their kid home at sleep and dinner time, and then at 8 o'clock can get on and work on their computer for 4 hours, how great is that they're giving that 2 hour window, but they know the work is getting done, right? So not micromanaging, but knowing that you're giving a little to get a lot.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Susan, thank you so much. I have put your website on the screen, but I have your email address. I'm going to put that on here too, just in case people want to reach out to you.
Thank
So it's Susan at Divorce Coach Plus. Thank you so much, Susan, for I love talking to you about this topic. I always learn something from you about this topic, and know that you're you're really changing the world, and you're
Well,
really
so
changing
are you. So are you with
yeah.
what you're doing. I mean, these businesses, whether they're for profit or nonprofit or governmental, they need to know, wow, this is a missing piece, and Divorce Right is filling this piece. And we want to help our employees, and we don't want to be last to jump on the bandwagon. We want to get on now. So are you.
Well, thank you. Back at you, my friend. So
Thank
we
you.
will talk again. Everybody, thank you so much. We will be back next Thursday with another topic around how we can support your employees going through one of the worst life transitions, most stressful transitions that they face, and it impacts their productivity at work. So let us show you what we've got. It's some very affordable options that will support your employees and help them take a breath so that they can come back to work and be a focused and fully engaged employee. Thank you, Susan. We'll see you everybody next week, and we look forward to seeing you every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn. Thanks for now.